house in the wintertime for the sake of the prosperity of Mother Russia. The new generation of Russians do not work that way. They love iPhones. They love Netflix. They love Starbucks. They like to wear Nike shoes, okay? St. Petersburg, the birthplace of Vladimir Putin, used to be called Leningrad, used to be called Stalingrad. Now it's back to St. Petersburg, okay? Its original name. But St. Petersburg, the birthplace of Vladimir Putin, protests are so big there. Have you seen the protests in St. Petersburg? Protests of Russia invading the Ukraine. There aren't enough paddy wagons to arrest the people. And if there were, there aren't enough jails to put the people in them. So there's nothing the Russian police can do except for let them protest. Yeah, the main ones, they're throwing them in jail, the big leaders and that. But you can't throw tens of thousands of people into jail. And that's what's happening. With these sanctions, the oligarchs are losing millions, billions of dollars with these sanctions. And if you have followed the Strong Show at all, if you listen to my mantra, and if you just look at the world as a whole, you want to find out why things happen and why people think the way they do, you follow the money. And how long do you think these oligarchs, these billionaires, are going to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice what my yachts, my planes, my lifestyle, and live on beets and vodka in a house that's unheated for the sake of Mother Russia? How many of them are going to do that? Zero. The other thing about Russia today that the old Soviet Russia did not have is Russians today, like everybody, they have the internet. Everybody has the internet. You go into a town in the middle of Africa where they don't have running water or roads that are paved. Friends, they've got cell phones. They look at the internet and they do TikTok and they do all that kind of stuff. They may not get 3 meals a day or have running water, but they have a cell phone, okay? Everybody has one. And they see what the rest of the world is saying. They see the carnage in the Ukraine. And as of this morning, 2,800 Russians have already lost their lives. They've already been killed. 2,800 Russians, troops, have already been killed in the Ukraine as of, that was about 4 o'clock this morning when I looked. This is in 2 days, friends. 2 days, 2,800 troops. Now, in 10 years in Afghanistan, the Russians only lost 15,000 troops. So let's do the quick math. 2 days, 2,800, 10 years, 15,000. At this rate, they will lose 2,800 troops in 2, 4, 6, 8 days? 7 days? Do you think the Russian people are going to put up with that? Because they see those statistics. Now, the other thing I hear that a lot of people out there saying, and it's not wrong, but it still bothers me, and I'll tell you why. And here's the question. Did Putin play Biden like a fiddle? Well, let's look at the facts. Day one of the war, the Russian stock market was down 30%. Then President Biden imposed all these tough, and I use that term in air quotes, tough sanctions on Russia. In fact, they were so tough that the Russian stock market went up 19% the next day. Okay, it recovered almost 2/3 of its losses. This is day 3. Now, I'm no Joe Biden fan. I didn't vote for him. But sanctions are the way to combat inherent evil today. Worldwide sanctions continue to mount. Not just by the United States, but by everybody. Did you know you can't buy Russian vodka in Canada anymore? I mean, just everybody is just ramping up the sanctions on Russia. And Putin has zero allies in this fight. Even President Xi Jinping has backed off. Now, Xi had the Olympics. China and Xi hosted the Winter Olympics just recently, a week or so ago. They closed up. And you think to yourself, well, The Western leaders did not go to those Olympics. Well, Putin did. He was the guest of honor. He was the only guest from a major power who showed up, the only head of state or diplomatic representative of a major power who showed up at the Olympics. He helped Xi save face. So you figure, and I think he did that because, okay, Xi, I came to your dopey Olympics. I helped you save face. Now you got to back me when I invade the Ukraine. I mean, he waited till the Olympics were over to do it, okay? Even Xi has backed off. Well, maybe shouldn't maybe invade him like that. Maybe you should negotiate more. This isn't a good thing. Vladimir Putin has 0 allies in this fight. Not even one. Not even Xi Jinping. In fact, that fat guy with the bad haircut in North Korea hasn't even joined in and given his affirmation for Putin. Nobody. He's basically actually on his own. Dear listeners, this is a different day, a different time, a different era. Now, with the exception of the Taliban, everybody wants a Western lifestyle. Everybody, even Russians. Sanctions on that country will deny them of that. And they're not going to tolerate it. Maybe for a day or a week. I don't even think they'll tolerate it for a month. Certainly not for a year. It's not going to fly. Now, you may say to yourself, well, we should have just sent troops into the Ukraine and gave Putin a taste of his own medicine. Think long and hard about that option. And again, try your best to be well-read and try your best to understand history. Let's look at the last time an invasion like that really paid off for the positive. I don't know, the invasion of Normandy? I mean, how long ago was that? That's the last time it worked out well. Now, is the United States and the West, are they blameless angels of the world? No, absolutely not. We've done countless things in the past that have been wrong. Hindsight being 2020, we probably should have never invaded Iraq. Okay? There's a lot of things that we did that we shouldn't have done. We're not angels, but we're not wrong here. And if you're out there saying, well, you got to consider Vladimir Putin, what he thinks, and you know what, he's really a smart guy, and you know, really, it's kind of our fault that the Ukraine got invaded. No, stop it. Stop it right now. You're foolish if you think that way. You're acting like a fool, and history will prove that you're a fool. Don't think that way, dear listeners. If you have thought that way, do the right thing and back off. Everybody can back off and say, look, I was wrong there. I made the wrong statement, the wrong choice. Okay. Everybody can do that. If you keep thinking that way, you're just wrong, because the United States and the West are not blameless. Why? We invaded Iraq. Well, Iraq, Saddam Hussein was a dictator who invaded Kuwait. Now, should we have responded by invading Iraq? History says no. That was a mistake. Okay. But we did not unseat a freely elected leader. Mr. Zelensky is the freely elected president of the Ukraine. The people said, look, we want this guy in office. We're going to vote for this guy because we want to be part of NATO. The Russians didn't want that. So they invaded the country. We are not perfect. We are not angels. We are not faultless. But we are not Vladimir Putin. Do not compare the West to him. He's inherently evil. And there's a difference between inherently evil and flawed. The West is flawed. Our leaders are flawed. And in the West, if we have a flawed leader, what do? We elect a new one. Why was Donald Trump elected? And don't start on this, the election was stolen. I don't want to hear that. Why was Donald Trump elected? Or why was Joe Biden elected? Because the people were tired of Donald Trump. Why was Donald Trump elected to begin with? Because the people did not want Hillary Clinton. Will Joe Biden get another election? Will he run for re-election and win? I don't know. If we don't like him, he won't. but we won't use the barrel of a gun to run the country. We've never done that. And don't talk to me about January the 6th, because that was a bunch of fat QAnon losers who thought that they were going to do something, and that didn't happen, okay? Read, educate yourself, and please, dear listeners, think before you run your mouth. That's all I'm going to talk about. I'm done here. This was a short podcast, and I did a short one because later on today, I'm going to do a longer one, one that's a whole lot more fun, a whole lot more enjoyable, a whole lot more entertaining, having to do with mixing drinks, drinking alcohol, having cocktails, a whole lot more fun to talk about than a stupid war in the Ukraine. That's it. I'm done. Until next time, this is James Strong saying adios.